Welcome to the Chain Out Podcast with your hosts, Jeremy and Daryl.
Hey everyone, welcome to Chain Out. We are on Season 2, Episode 55. I'm Jeremy. With me as always is this awesome co-host, Daryl. How's it going, partner?
You're only saying that because I'm sitting beside you.
Again, it's been a bit, hey?
Yeah.
So last week, what was our reason? Why didn't we sit beside each other? What was going on?
Because you were feeling a little bit under the weather and you were so conscientious you didn't want to give it to me and I didn't want it.
Yeah, I think it was more that you didn't want it. My conscientiousness, I would have probably still come to the Chain Out podcast studio in South Edmonton. It's soon to be famous.
Well, I appreciate you not coming over.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm glad you're here today.
I sound better. I feel better. The look better, I'm not so sure about.
I think you're looking pretty sharp today, Jeremy.
Oh, am I? Well,
Yeah.
Maybe that's because I'm wearing a little Cardinal disc golf apparel.
It's looking pretty good on you, Jeremy.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
And you're looking pretty good yourself.
Yeah, repping the original, the red Cardinal.
Yeah.
Oh, and got the nice dad hat on there as well.
And then to all our listeners, I
Yeah.
got to show them the back of my hoodie and just see.
Yeah.
Maybe we can see if anybody feels this is a good
Does
fitting
anybody?
thing or not.
Does this ring true for anybody out there?
All right, here goes.
Let us know.
Do.
Jeremy is definitely not. You're not a slow puke. You want to lift up your hood a little bit.
Is that what it is?
Keep that down. There you go. Slow Pokes Putting Club. Easy does it.
Well, I don't know if am I a slow putter? Do you think, or
You've gotten better.
I've gotten better?
There's a lot of footage on the cutting room floor.
Yes, there is. There used to be a time for
You had a long putt, a long build up.
For those who didn't play with me or did play with me early on, you might remember Jeremy doing this a lot before I threw, just holding a disc out in front of
Yeah,
himself.
I don't know what it was. I don't. You don't do it anymore
No.
because that if you watched a couple of episodes ago on the Around the Basket, we went over our pet peeves, and one of mine was slow play. Now I don't know if I mentioned it to you that you took a long time putting and I had to cut a lot out when we did a 9-hole round together,
Out
but
at Niska.
you don't do it anymore.
No.
Yeah, you
So,
sped up.
I saw this one, and one of the reasons was because the turtle is on the back. My wife's favorite animal is turtles.
Right?
So I figured this hoodie is likely going to be a shared hoodie. And I thought, yeah, she might like wearing that.
That's fair. No, I'm keeping mine.
So what if other people want Cardinal gear? Can they get any?
Absolutely.
How do
If
they go
you-
about that?
Yeah, if you want to look as fresh as us, as cool as us, just go to Cardinal Disc Golf. I don't actually know the website. Search Cardinal, and when you go to check out, I think it's cardinaldiscgolf.com.
Yeah.
Let's go with that. Use the code CHAINOUT at checkout, and you'll get 10% off.
Spoken like a guy who's been sponsored for years. Well, after Chain Out episode, we also want to make sure you guys hang around.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
even though it is winter, we're in a cool area right now.
Yeah.
If you suffer from, a lot of women, their temperature kind of goes down. Men typically run a little
hot.
hotter than women. Get yourself a Cardinal hoodie because I am so hot in this hoodie right now. The things I do. But there you go. Thanks, Sam. CardinalDiscGolf.com.
There we go.
Yeah.
We knew we could
I'm
count
gonna-
on you. There it is.
There it is for people that are watching.
Yeah. And
Hey, Brendan. Hey, Dylan. Hey, Sam. Hey, Sonia.
Oh,
Hey, Dina. Just thought I'd give
wow.
everybody a shout out in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Now you can go.
Welcome everybody to the podcast. And of course, after the Chain Out episode, you can jump over to the Patreon side and see our Around the Basket episode that we'll be doing live. Last week we had a lot of fun. We were talking to Tim Plamondon. We opened up a pack of Brixton cards, and that just kind of led us down a whole bunch of different conversations, and we ended up we're giving them away. And we do have a spin for our Patreon members to do that.
Yeah.
And then this week, we're going to have Ryan Bonner. We saw him when we were down in Calgary at Cold Garden, but we decided to invite him on. So Ryan Bonner from Local Disc Golf, he'll be our guest on Around the Basket.
Yeah. We're starting to find our feet. We're kind of getting in a groove. We kind of figured out what it's going to be. More so,
Well, we keep talking about what is the voice of Around the Basket. And last week, had a voice for sure.
Yeah. We want it to be different than the Chain Out podcast. And I think we're getting there.
Yeah. And
Come over, listen to us and help us improve.
Well, when we were talking about it, that we wanted to have differing opinions and such, and I felt like I couldn't be the bad guy. Remember when we talked about that? Because, I just want everybody to like me. I didn't want to be a bad guy. But then last week we realized what Jeremy's role might end up being accidentally is when you put me on the spot and you get me to talk and share my ideas, I got a lot of ideas, but they're not always good ones. So.
This button gets used quite a bit.
Oh, yes.
No, not that one.
Value your opinion, but you're wrong.
I want to give a shout out to Brock as well. He's in the chat. He's
Okay.
preparing winter activities for Edgar.
Oh, perfect.
So everyone stay tuned. Yeah.
Well, I did see that Edga newsletter had just come out. I thought maybe you had put that one out as the new communications, but not quite.
Not quite.
Okay.
There was a little bit of a mix-up, I think, but it got out there. That's the important thing.
Yeah, and some of the things that are happening with that is that the Edga Winter League starts on Saturday.
Yeah.
So I think that's it's 8 weeks for sure, but it might be 10 because there's 2 weeks there where you need to set your tier because they do a 2-tier system.
Right.
So that's happening. When we talked to Gabe, he was telling us about the fact that we're going to have winter lessons again, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to be another thing happening. And are you going to do them this year? Did you think about it? Did Gabe convince you?
Maybe we can discuss this on Around the Basket because it might be a bit of a hot take, but
You don't need practice?
no, it's a case of we've said this before. I don't know if this is the time or place to say it, but we've said this before. The disc golf is so young. Have they really figured out what the exact form is for throwing a disc?
Right.
Right? And what it seems to be, you look at so many disc golf pros, they're all got their own tips. You look at people that say they're pros and coaches and whatever it might be. Everybody kind of seems to have a little bit, oh, you should be doing this. I don't like it this. I like this. I like that. So maybe not coaches are bad, but you've got to find a coach that works for you. So if you can find one that works for your form technique to make your form better, then I think a coach is great. But if you have a coach that doesn't agree with the way that you're throwing and trying to change your throw, I think it's going to have a negative effect.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I think you've got a good take there because you're right. If someone's going to revamp, how do they know what to revamp you to unless it's just that bad that it really needs to be changed?
Yeah,
But Gabe has
exactly.
always been good at just kind of tweaking and looking at what you're doing and help you do it better, right?
Yeah.
So that's good. And then the third thing I think we had in the newsletter, what was it? It was also that putting league's going to be coming back to Cattail Crossing. And I loved putting league last year. It was a lot of fun. It was a night during the week where I could go out, have some dinner with some other people who enjoy disc golf as much as I do. We'd chat. We'd be talking about all things, getting excited for the season, everything like that. And then we'd go do the putt off. And Terry was there last year representing BR.
Yeah.
And she would always show up and give us a special game to play. And that was probably one of my highlights of the putting league,
Yeah.
was that I actually had the hot score one night. What was it again? I think it was over a coat rack or something like that. I had to go up and over, and I had a good one. So
Yeah. And then there was also the you had to buy a ticket for the one shot. I forget what they called it, but you had the
yes.
one shot thing. You bought a ticket for the raffle. No, not the raffle, but you had one shot, one putt from 30, 50 feet through
it
into
would have been the furthest distance. So I think it was like 30 feet, and it was the Frozen Chains putt.
the champ. That was it. The frozen change
Yeah, something like that.
chains.
Yeah. Well, and tonight, guys, we're going to get there. We've already had a chance to check out our guests' setup, and they've got a great setup. Hey,
Oh, yeah.
they've got it dialed in. They haven't done. I don't know if they've done a lot of podcasts yet. I don't know if
No,
have or not.
they saved it for the best.
Oh, they waited for us. Huh?
They waited for us.
The greatest waited for the best.
I like it. I like it.
So we're going to just give them a second to get back in here with us. And then as soon as they do, we're going to give an announcement. When we came on, Daryl, I thought we were going to talk about the fact that the weather has been warming up, at least when I wrote the start of the outline. The weather was warming up. But today's been a crazy day in Edmonton. So anybody outside of Edmonton, be thankful you're not here right now because we got a bunch of freezing rain.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it took me like 10 minutes just to scrape off my car before I left work to come over here.
Well, I left this morning. I got up bright and early. I decided that I was going to get some shopping done. So I jumped in my truck, got it all warmed up, swept off the snow, left my house 5 minutes down the road, went to Tim Hortons, because you never want to go shopping on an empty stomach, Jeremy.
No, you need a double in your hand, or a tea, or whatever.
Double and a breakfast sandwich. In the drive-through, waiting for my breakfast sandwich and my coffee, I decided I'm not going to chance these roads, so I just turned right around and came back home again.
Oh, did you really?
Yep, didn't even venture out, so I took 5 minutes out.
Yeah, that seems about right. I would feel the same way. A coffee is pretty much a big enough trip out, I would think.
Exactly. It was good enough for me.
Yeah. Well, here we go.
Let's do it.
Tonight, we have not one, but two guests joining us. They have both been PDGA members since 2017. When they're not playing disc golf at the pro level out in Ontario, they're running a successful disc golf business. We're excited to welcome the owners of GOAT, the greatest of all towels, Craig and Jennifer Snow, to the show.
Hello.
Hello. Good afternoon.
Hey, how are you?
Welcome.
Good, you?
Good. We're doing fantastic. Glad to have you on. You've been guests on our list for quite a while.
Yeah. We had noticed you were keeping an eye on some of our stuff, because it seemed like every time we had either Chantel or Thomas's towels show in there, every once in a while you'd catch that for us and give us a shout out, which we always appreciate. So
It's amazing how easy it is to spot your product
Yes.
when you're not even looking for it, but like I can see somebody a few hundred feet away now and just know that's my towel.
that is awesome. Well, when you have a product that stands out like that, I'm sure that's the case.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Craig, when we were chatting back and forth, and you had said that you just finished a tournament, and Daryl always kind of gives me a hard time about my research skills. He says they're either not very good or they borderline on stalking. So I probably, I don't know which one I'm leaning on there, but I was looking and I'm like, oh, the tournament doesn't show up. But then I did some digging, and it looks like you were playing Chris Oslin's Golden Horseshoe Doubles Championship out at King's Forest in Hamilton. Did I do all right?
You can't hide from Jeremy. He will find you.
It wasn't sanctioned, but yeah, that's exactly the tournament that we've been playing.
Okay. How did you guys do in the tournament?
My team, myself and Josh McMullen, we had to eagle the last hole to push a playoff for first. And then it wasn't best shot for the playoff. We went alternate, and I missed my putt on hole 2, and we ended up coming in second, I guess. I'll let Jen tell you about her round.
So my partner Bree and we won.
Oh,
So
nice.
it was awesome. Yeah.
Nice.
Kings Forest is our favorite course. It is so beautiful. If you come all the way into Ontario, that's definitely one of the courses to put on your list for the winter. It's a seasonal course.
Yeah, that was something that I had noticed, was that King's Forest, as opposed to being open up during the regular disc golf season, it's kind of open in the off season. What's that all about?
It's a public course, but it's,
Golf course.
I believe it was used for the Canadian Open golf a few years back anyway. It could have been 20 years ago. I'm not really sure, but it's a beautiful course. So it's a public course, but it's like top tier public course. Chris was able to get a course put in for the winters, I think 3 years ago now.
It's 4.
4, yeah, and he's been running. Yeah, it is 4. Sorry, I made the trophies, and there's a 4 on the trophy, so
That's right.
it is the 4. So he ended up getting it in 2020 during COVID, and to be honest, it's the best seasonal course in Ontario. But we might be a little bit biased because we grew up at the top of the hill overlooking it, so it just brings back childhood memories. So we're there a lot, to be honest.
Yeah, and it's just
Gotcha.
gorgeous. Like I can't help but take pictures every time I'm there because it's always overcast, but then the sun blasts in and the hills and the creek and everything. It's just gorgeous.
Nice. Well, one of the things when you play in a doubles tournament like you guys did at King's Forest, it's one of the fun things about disc golf is trying to name your doubles teams. So we're interested. What do you guys have for your doubles teams names, and how did you come up with them?
Josh and I went with "Do You Even Disc?" We didn't really have a name, so that was kind of, it just happened. We almost put no name. It was the first time we actually were partners, and we did very well. Like,
Oh,
Josh ended up playing a Sunday too in the other division, and they did very well again. Like, Josh is a pretty good player. Him and I just teamed up very well Saturday. It felt like we were clicking, and been team a few times over the years, but that was our first time.
Mhm. And Bree and I were send hers because we both
Ah.
crushed. So we,
There you go.
yeah, love it.
Nice. So one thing that I want to ask you, you know, picking a good partner for a good doubles team really makes it. What are the secrets for picking a good doubles partner?
I don't know.
Probably just somebody you can talk things out with and work things out and have not really a game plan going in, but be able to adjust and adapt as you go. Like, Josh and I got ourselves in some pretty gnarly situations, but we're still able to get out and save the par just because we talked it out and figured things out in the situations. And I don't think it's really so much like opposites, like he's a forehand, I'm a backhand player. That's definitely not the truth. I just think that just adapting as you go and figuring out the day, because every day is different in disc golf. It's never the same, right?
right.
And with
Yeah.
me, I know Bree's awesome. She just, she is. We have a pretty equal game, but like, I know she crushes. She can throw long drives. She was ultimate, so she has these wicked forehand approach shots, like little Annie flexes. Like, she can get in and around. Plus, she can throw straight. So she was definitely a strong partner. I love playing with her.
I describe Jen and Bree as Simon and Paul, because Jen is definitely Simon and wants to just throw as hard as she can and as far as she can, and Bree's a little more controlled.
Yeah, I do agree with that, actually.
Yeah. So there's some Gen lines out on the course. Is that what you're telling us?
Yeah. Yeah. I like to try and go up and over if I can.
That's awesome.
So the secret of a good team is picking the other partner that's awesome.
Yeah, that's right.
That's why you picked
Yeah,
me.
that's it. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, we got called out by Brooklyn Okrafka and Colleen McInnes that the next time we're in Ontario, maybe during nationals, they want to do a doubles match against us. And I'm like, I don't know how that's going to go. I'm wondering how many strokes they're going to spot us. Right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
Brooklyn lives not far from us, maybe 5 minutes. Like, she's the other end of our town.
Okay.
We've watched her grow up as a player, let's say.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And
It's,
she crushes
Yeah.
too.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, that's definitely it. Well, speaking of starting out, like Brooklyn had just started out, one of the things we like to do is find out how you got into disc golf. But rather than just ask you the question straight up, I like to create a little story. We have our listeners try and guess what movie or hero I'm kind of targeting. So for the listeners, they can start getting ready to guess. And for you guys, start thinking about your origin stories. And here it goes. So maybe you were both closet disc golfers, but after getting married and becoming Mr. and Mrs., you shared all of your secrets, but not that one, that disc golf one. You both found convenient ways to slip away and compete in tournaments. You felt like secret spies sneaking off to play disc golf. One weekend, unbeknownst to each other, you played in the same tournament, in the same division, on the same card. A heated battle took place, trading leads hole after hole. With this killer secret out in the open, you became an unstoppable duo, taking out the competition regularly. Some might say it made you two the goats of disc golf. Maybe that's not quite how you got into disc golf, but why don't you tell us how it really happened?
That's amazing. I love that story.
do you want to start, or?
Oh, it's up to you.
You can start. You can bring us to the barbecue competition, and then
Okay. So Craig and I used to do barbecue competitions. So we were in Ottawa doing a barbecue competition for the long weekend, and our partners, Jenna and Tom always played disc golf, and he always told us about it. And we just thought it was him and his buddies out drinking beer, throwing discs, throwing frisbees. So then when we were in Ottawa, he found a 9-hole course, and while Craig's manning the barbecue, Tom wanted to go play. So I'm like, I'll come with you. And the minute I threw my first disc, I was obsessed. Like, we played that little 9-hole loop. I came back, told Craig, I'm like, this is awesome. Like, it was so much fun. And that's kind of how it all started. So then I started going with Tom to play, and then I kind of started playing Mohawk League a little bit, and then Craig kind of jumped in.
we were at Tom and Jenna's for a barbecue, just friends get together, and Mohawk Park is like literally across the street. And Tom's like, "Oh, let's go throw a few holes." So we walked over, and we got to hole 1, and I'm like, "Oh, there's like tee pads and a sign and like a basket. Like, this is official." Like, I honestly thought it was just something they made up and were aiming at trees that we would play. But, and after that, it was just kind of a really quick roller coaster ride. And next thing you knew, we were running league and
Club.
and running tournaments. It escalated very fast, to be honest.
Yeah, we kind of jump into everything with 2 feet.
Barbecue competitions are no longer.
Yeah, once we found disc golf, that was it. Our life is disc golf.
There you go. Yeah, that's awesome.
And then
Yeah,
Paris, we were out in Paris, and Jen had a 3-set like starter set. I think she got it from Des and Jay Redding at like a clinic, maybe.
Oh.
Some of them.
Yeah.
And so we went out to Paris to play, and we were on hole 12, and we ran into Chris Osland and
John McLeod.
John McLeod, and Chris was like, "Come back to my car," and he gave me a little 3-disc starter set, and that's history.
Okay. That's awesome. Yeah, and that's the thing is for us that's really exciting about hearing some of these stories is that we get to find out what it was like getting into disc golf before the COVID boom, because we hear a lot of those COVID boom stories where it's just it got popular, we couldn't do anything else, we gave it a try, and now we're into it. And those stories are great, but it's awesome to hear how you guys came around to it as well.
It was more, I think, back then, like friends or acquaintances bringing you into it and giving you discs, where COVID, it just grew so quick that there wasn't enough friends and discs to give out. So people were just buying and going, right? Like,
yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Well, and when we saw that you're PDGA member since 2017 and your numbers are only 1 digit apart. So was it just at that point you said, no, we need memberships, this is what we're doing, and it just happened to coincide at that point, or?
Yeah. We started playing tournaments, and without the PDGA, you had to pay the extra $10, I think it was back then too.
Yeah.
Well, we actually started in 2016, but we didn't sign up
No.
until 2017.
It was the tournaments and paying the extra $10, and it wasn't worth it. Like, if you're going to play more than 3-4 tournaments a year, you might as well sign up, right? At that point. So we did, and then I'm going to say that was it, really, why we got our number. Tom used to tell us, like, hey, the lower the number, the better. Like, but we were just like, yeah. Whatever. And then now, looking back, it's like, well, maybe we should have got them when we started. But
Yeah, that's awesome. So with you guys being a disc golf couple, and you say that if you're going to do something, you're going to jump in full, in feet first. Have you been on many disc golf vacations together?
Most.
We always make it a part of our vacation.
Yeah.
We, anywhere we seem to go seems to be like an Airbnb or a cottage or somewhere near courses we want to play.
Yeah.
That being said, like nationals and PEI, ever since we played, it just seems to, we follow the courses that we want to play.
Right.
I know you've said it before about if you're going on vacation, before, whenever you used to go somewhere, you used to try and say, how much can I get in my carry-on? Because I don't want to pay for a checked bag.
Yeah.
But as soon as you found disc golf, it was like, okay, I gotta take these discs with me. They're not going in the hole; they're going in my carry-on.
Yeah. Yeah, that was it.
We're lucky.
Go ahead.
We're super lucky to have like so many great courses in Ontario. So like even just going up north for the weekend, it's like a mini little vacation, and you
Yeah.
still get to
Right.
play Project 15, and which is an amazing course. Hope Goat, like all these amazing courses, they're kind of in our cottage country. So
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
So lucky.
That's one of those reasons that we're quite excited. We've talked to Daryl Banks a few times, and we've done some chatting with Gabe through messages and such.
Aw.
And just the way that they talk about those courses and the coverage that we've been able to see, we can't wait to get out east and play them for sure.
Project 15, almost besides Hillcrest, I don't
Yeah.
normally take photos when I get to courses on T-pads, but almost every hole on both those courses, you just want to pull out your phone and take a photo.
Yeah.
They're beautiful. Like it's a different level of scenery plus course.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Where would you say the best disc golf vacation that you've had? Would it be still staying just one of those weekend getaways in Ontario, or have you played anywhere else, maybe down south, or have you ventured
We
out
haven't
west?
gone too far down south yet. Like,
You went to Emporia.
oh, I went to Emporia, Kansas to visit a friend. Yeah. So yeah, I guess my vacations do kind of wrap around. That was a fun long weekend.
Wow.
My girlfriend and I went down for that, and PEI for sure to Hillcrest was amazing.
Right.
Love that one, but we haven't traveled too far south yet.
We're heading west the next summer coming.
Oh,
Right.
okay. And where are you going to come out this way? How far are you coming
Oh.
west?
I think Calgary and then out to Banff area,
Okay.
but we're unsure 100%.
Yeah, we haven't booked anything yet. I got 2 weeks in July, so
Okay.
we'll see.
Yeah, well, we
Awesome.
know we have if you want us to help hook you up, I know you guys know a lot of people in the disc golf world, but whether it's Joe Henderson or Alex Penny, a lot of these people who are out in that Calgary area, they'll be more than happy to show you around and take you out and show you the courses down there.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that would be awesome. That's the thing I love about our community. You can literally go anywhere and find people. I just went to Cape Breton in September, and I got a hold of the club there, and I played League the one night. It was amazing, and the guys were all super sweet. They found discs for me. Like I joined their chat, and they were able to like help me out. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Like our community is amazing.
Yeah. That's one of the things that I've noticed, and even Daryl and I, we didn't know each other before disc golf. We met on a course, just two guys playing by themselves, and somehow it's turned into this.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
It's a
That's- I
common
think-
story, though.
I was just going to say that. Yeah. I don't know what it is about disc golf, but if you get into disc golf, it's like you really want to get into disc golf. You either start a towel company or a podcast, or, we've had people on before, Brendan McKinstry he's in the chat. He wanted to play so much, he designed a 9-hole course. Like,
Yeah.
and now he designs courses and he has his own disc golf shop. It's just, yeah.
Cool.
If you want to get into it, you really want to get into it.
And it seems like you feel you have to share it with everybody that you know.
Yep. That's absolutely
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, in my past, I was a runner, and I learned that some things from running that I brought to disc golf. And what it is you have to kind of gauge people. So when I was running, if someone said to me, "Oh, you're running a marathon? How long is this one?" I knew I wasn't going to have much of a conversation because all marathons are the same length for them, right? Like if you're doing a full marathon. So then it's also one of those things when it comes to disc golf. If somebody says, how do you like disc golf? How do you get it into the hole? Then I go, okay, this is a short conversation, right?
Yeah.
But if they say, are you working on some anti-flexes? What are you doing with your throws? Then I go, oh, we're going to have a conversation. This person knows
Yeah.
what they're talking about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
So,
definitely.
but yeah, we talked about starting podcasts, and when we talked about towel companies, thanks for the segue there, Daryl. So
Try.
why don't we talk about Goat? Now, I don't have a fancy origin story for the company, but we do want to hear more about it. So tell us, when did it start? How did it start? What is the origin story of Goat Towel?
2019, we got some time. So, long story short, I was working at Toyota. They thought I had Crohn's disease. I ended up leaving Toyota because of health reasons. I wanted to change my diet, and it was a shift work at the factory. And I wanted to take care of myself, so I decided to walk away at Toyota, which was kind of the dream job at that point, like what I worked hard for. And it came to the point where I just wanted to take my health a little more seriously. So I ended up leaving Toyota in May, I think it was. And then June, we had a tournament in London, and they were calling for rain the entire weekend.
Yeah, 3-day tournament.
So Jen went to the grocery store to buy snacks and stuff because we were staying down there. And as she was gone, I'm packing everything up, and I had one of those little DD Trooper bags, and I just kept loading towels into it. I was like, there's got to be a better way. So then I noticed two different types of towels. I'm like, well, I'm looking at them like, why don't I just join them together? So Jen had a sewing machine, and I had YouTube, so you know how that works. So I YouTubed how to sew, so I had to set up the bobbin and figure out everything. And by the time Jen got back, I had a towel already sewn up and made.
Wow.
And then I think I made 3 for the weekend, and they worked really well. And as we were playing the tournament, people were asking, hey, where'd you get that towel?
Yeah.
So by the end of the weekend, I was like, okay, I'm on to something here. I got home, and we had a few more towels, so I made up some. I went and got materials to test and did a whole bunch of testing and prototyping. And at that point, the towel company was actually called The Last Towel. So there is versions of it still floating around in people's bags
Yeah.
Wow.
that says The Last Towel on it.
I think Oz has one.
Oz
still.
has one still,
Yeah.
actually, and I think a few others. But
Oh,
so then I went to Christie Lake Spring Fling, and I asked the one store that was set up there, if, would they mind just putting these towels on the counter to see if they sold. I think I made 50, and I sold the 50 that day.
Wow.
I think it was a lot of just people supporting us because it was local and hey,
Yeah.
buy it. But then the feedback just kept coming, so and kept making them and selling them, and then I ended up sending one to Simon Lizotte, and
oh,
let's say that was Friday, and the Monday I had a dentist appointment, and he decided to make a YouTube video with my towel in it.
Yeah.
So I'm in the dentist seat, and my phone's blowing up like crazy because, yeah, you can imagine. And I'm like, did somebody, at that point, I started a website and started going with it. And I'm like, did somebody break into my website? Why is my phone going off so much? So then when I got out of the dentist chair, somebody called me. I forget exactly who it was, but my mouth's all frozen. So I answered the phone. They're like, did you see the Simon video? I'm like, what Simon video? So that kind of started it, and that's kind of how it blew up.
Yeah.
okay.
And ever since, it's just organically kind of just been like, hey, this towel's good, and word of mouth. I don't really do a ton of advertising.
So that original The Last Towel, how close
Yep.
is that in resemblance to the towel that we all know and love today?
You have one nearby?
Not right here.
Was
It's very close, actually.
Yeah.
I used to stitch them and then kind of fold them inside out like a pillow almost, so you couldn't see the stitching. And then
Yeah.
at one point, I had to outsource to a factory just because I didn't know how to keep up, to be honest. But now everything's been moved back here, in this room we're sitting in. And to be honest, it was just a few testers, and I think I had 5 or 6 people that I gave testers to and got feedback. And then the suede material was actually hard to get something that could print nice and actually still absorb water very well.
Right.
The waffle's been the same the entire time, but the suede definitely changed from the last towel to what it is now.
Right.
Okay. Yeah, that's good. And then, so we know that the towel is fairly similar to what it started out as. But what about with the sizes? How did you get to know what was going to be the right size? I know some of this may not be as interesting to everybody, but to me, I'm like so intrigued. It's like, how did you get to this size and not twice the size or half the size? Or
So originally it was 12 by 15 because that's all I could get, like, material wise.
Right.
But then I was looking at golf towels and the size of them, and I was just like, okay, why don't I go to a bigger towel, but I'll move the grommet over to the side so it can hang, because with material, the more material, it can only hold so much water, like, but the more material I have, the more water can actually hold. So this was
Right.
why I went bigger, but moved the grommet to the middle, because back then the biggest complaint with all towels was that they dragged on the ground, which still some towels do.
Right.
Mine does on some bags, the large one definitely, but moving it to the side minimize that. And then just playing winter disc golf, I noticed that we always had our hands in our pockets, so we ended up making a smaller one that was, I think, 8.5 by 13 to put in your pocket, basically as a quick little like touch-up refresher for your disc. And honestly, in the winter, it kept your hands warm as well.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So then I thought it was too small, and then that size came out that you're using right now, which
Yeah.
is
Oh.
12 by 18.
That's the 12 by 18.
And so the Simon, Chantal, and the black and one with the dime or triangles on it that you
Yeah.
have, those are 15 by 23.
Right.
But now I'm noticing the middle size that I came out with, the 12 by 17. It's
Yeah.
actually like 17 and a half, but more people carry that. So what I think in the future is going to happen is most of the towels are going to be that size, and the large is going to become a cart towel.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Or a heavy duty type of, you're in some monsoon and you need some.
I like clipping the big one on my belt when I play in the winter. That way it's always
Yeah.
on my side, and then I have my little one in my pocket for my hand. So
Okay.
Yeah. I've seen a few people do that. Yeah. I've never tried it, but I think it might get in my way or annoy me when I'm throwing. But I've definitely seen a lot of people carry them on their belts or, carry them on themselves, and then it doesn't really matter about the length, right?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well,
And
I
then
found-
Nationals, when it was in Thunder Bay, we actually did a custom size for that was 12 by 12.
Right.
So I still get feedback on those, and a lot of people like that size too
Yeah.
for the same reason. It's easy to put in and out of your pocket. It's easy just to tuck in behind your putters.
Yeah.
So that size might come back as well.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to say, I found, as you said, is the larger one is great on my Zuka cart. And then this one here,
Yeah.
if it is raining or there's some extra moisture in the morning or something like that, this is the one I'll unclip and then keep on my person for it, right? So, yeah, no, that's good. Now, you said it was the last towel at the beginning, and then it changed to Goat. Who gets the credit for the amazing name, and how did you come about it?
Originally, it was the last towel you'll ever need was my slogan. And then everybody kept saying, oh, this towel's great. So it just kind of migrated, and then I switched it over. I actually have, not here on me, but like old tags that I used to put on them, and like you could see it still at one point said the last towel, but underneath it said the greatest of all towels.
Ooh,
Like
collector's
right now.
edition.
Yeah, so like you can see the progression of the name as
Check
you looked
eBay.
at the
Check
different
eBay.
labels. Yeah.
And then how long into it before Goat started to sponsor? Because now you guys are sponsoring players. When did you start that process? Was it when Simon said, hey, it's good enough for Simon, then there's got to be other people who it's good enough for? Or
I believe around the same time, because I think Thomas was one of the first to use the towel as well.
Right.
I don't really remember how that actually happened, to be honest. Like, I think I was nervous and I asked Thomas, and he's like, yeah, let's go. Like, let's do this. But
Right.
like, even today, like, if I message a player about being on the team, I'm still very nervous about asking them. And it was like, I work a lot with Grip, and Grip's been amazing. And the first time I had a phone call with them, I was talking to them. I'm like really nervous for this phone call because you're a big company. And they're like, well, we didn't know what you would say. Like, and so like, but it was never meant to be a business. So like, I still don't treat it as like we made it or anything like that. I'm just kind of going with the flow of it, like, and adjusting as we go. Like, I think this is why the different sizes, like, we're not scared to try anything either.
No.
And when I remember asking Thomas, and I was nervous he was going to say no. It was like almost not like asking a first date, but that's how like nervous I felt, like, because I didn't know what he was going to say. And like, then I asked Jen to be part of the team, and like,
He was nervous too, for sure. Like,
That's awesome. Well, I've got it written down here, and if I miss anybody, let me know. But the team that you had this year included Colton Montgomery, Thomas Gilbert, Chantel Badinsky, Jerry-Ann Brownbridge, Trent Michaud, Karen Martell, Tammy Schaffner, Noah Dietrich, Tobin Isett, and then this Jen Snow person. I'm not sure. I'm not too familiar with. So,
yeah,
does that sound right? Did I miss anybody?
Yep. No, that's everybody.
Yeah. And then for those 3 Disc Golf Pro Tour players in Colin, Thomas, and Chantel, who are going down there fairly regularly, playing at the MPO, FPO level, how did they pick their towels? Did you give them the opportunity to pick their prints? How does that process work for them?
The first year, Thomas, I just worked and I designed, and he made adjustments and back and forth. Back then we had Christine Jennings and Bart on the team as well. And same thing, like, I just kind of learned how to design, and we went back and forth what they wanted. This year though, like, Colton did his own, Chantel did her own, Thomas and I worked on his, and things are just different now. I think a lot of things with like AI make it a lot easier for people to be like, hey, this is what I want, and then they can send it to you, and then you can make adjustments. Where before it was like they're drawing an idea in their head and you're trying to come up with it. Now it's like literally they can just type in AI, give you a base of what they want, and then you can go from that, right?
Yep.
It's a tool to use, but I don't like using it as the actual design, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Right.
There's
Yeah.
always some refining that needs to be done. I found that as well. Whenever I use it, it's kind of good, but it's not perfect.
No.
You'll ask it to give
but-
you'll ask you to give you a person, and the person will have 4 fingers and no thumb or something like that. So
yeah.
Well, even the disc golf baskets, they got like 40
struggles.
chains on them. Like, it's not realistic at all. Like, but like, to transfer and to give ideas to people,
Yeah.
it's a quick, easy way of doing it.
yeah, to get a starting point, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's it. And when we were going through that list of team players that you have, we were surprised we recognized some more names. So Jerry-Ann is out in Saskatchewan. We've seen her at a number of tournaments out here in the West. Karen Martell, of course.
Karen's in the chat.
Yeah, she's in the chat, and great player, represented us out in Australia this year. And then
Yeah.
Tobin and I, we'd recently did a post where we'd open a pack of Brixton cards, and we realized that Tobin really likes Brixton cards, and
He
had-
really
Yes.
likes Brixton cards.
Yeah.
and he was able to teach me so much about him. So we've been chatting there. So it's amazing how, as you said earlier there, Jen, how great this community is. And as you get more and more involved in it, how small it gets, and that you start to get to know all of these people as long as you want to, right? So now a question for you. Jen's on the team. Is Jen the captain of the team?
No,
No.
not officially. No. No.
Unofficially.
Yeah.
Not officially, but unofficially.
Yeah. Do you guys have a captain for the team, or is that you, Craig, then, or?
Not officially, no.
No.
We're pretty laid back, to be honest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They'll cheer each other on.
That's good. And do you guys do? I was part of Limber Disc Golf in Calgary. Has a group called the Pine Cones, and it was a number of us players who were out there to try and promote the sport. So I was part of that, and we had a WhatsApp group, and then we would cheer each other on. And Alex Penny was our leader, and he would watch every one of our tournaments and congratulate us and tell us, you know, even if we weren't playing well, you felt like you had the best round of your life when Alex was in there. Do you guys connect on it as a team when you can too?
Yes.
Yeah.
It's hard to keep track because everybody's so spread out.
Mm-hmm.
But I try to keep track of where everybody's playing and congratulate everybody for their wins. It definitely gets hard when you got a Tobin playing 50 tournaments.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he said when I was messaging with him, I was like, "Oh, congratulations! I think he had 51 tournaments," and he said, "Oh yeah, I still got like 4 more to go or something like that." So
Yeah.
he's definitely going to have the record for this year, I think.
I believe so, but he's holding off. Like he doesn't want to, because of weather. He wants to release the towel for his record.
Right.
That's all I'm going to say for right now. But
Yeah.
he's holding off. Yeah. Keep an eye out.
Yeah.
We'll just leave it at that. That's stay tuned.
Yeah.
Moving on, Jeremy.
Yes.
So we already went over the team for 2024. Looking forward to next year. Are there any team changes next year? Anyone else we can expect, or is it a pretty solid team that you have?
Solid team, working on more, figuring that out as we go. Obviously, disc golf has kind of leveled out a little bit. So if we add, it's not going to be a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Oh,
Absolutely.
for sure. Now, we have to ask, because we know there's listeners out there, everybody loves your product. If someone was super keen and super interested in trying to find one of those coveted spots on the team, how would they go about that? Would they send an email or?
We used to put out a Google form and you could fill it out. I was going to do that again this year. There's been a few people reach out on their own. I asked a few of the team members who they would suggest. I'd rather have people suggest people than just apply and not really know who these people are either, because you don't want somebody who looks great on paper but freaks out on their course.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
And if you've got such a tight-knit group and a group that's working right now, you don't want to rock the apple cart, as they say, right? You want to keep it a good team.
and that's it. Like, it's Tammy's down in Emporia, but we know her from up here because she used to live in Syracuse and they used to come over and play events here. So like, that's like family, like, and it really is. Like,
Yeah.
Trent and Tobin are close. Like Karen, we run into playing tournaments. She's a great person.
Yeah.
It's just people that we could hang out with and actually get along with and enjoy to play with.
And they're good mentors.
Yeah.
Good mentors in the community. Like that's serious. Like, because we are mentors in the community, we always try to help, and we do fundraisers, and we're always trying to grow the sport, trying to grow women's disc golf. So that is also a really good perspective.
You can be the best player, but
Yeah.
if you don't,
You don't have the heart for
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, if it's only about your playing and you're not giving back to the community, that's not quite. And we find that with a lot of different companies out there, and just disc golf in general, is we all want it to grow and we all want it to get bigger. And the only way you can have that happen is if we're all, what would you call, pulling on an oar or rowing the boat. We all have to be part of it together. So
Singing on the same song sheet.
yeah, exactly. So if you're off in
I
your
like
own
that.
kayak just going down the river by yourself, that's okay. You're welcome to do it, but it's not going to help us grow disc golf, right? So
Right.
I would rather see somebody go out today. It's snowing here, so like that person that's out shoveling and doing good things just to play.
Mm-hmm.
That's somebody I'd want on my team.
for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we'd all
That's a
we'd all
great
agree with that.
example, though, hey? The one shoveling the tea pad, not stomping down the snow on top of
Right?
it.
Making it icy.
Yeah,
Exactly. Think about people that come after you, Jeremy.
Not calling anybody
That's
out,
right.
just saying. So, well, we talked a little bit about the towels there, but one of the other things is that you've got some custom towels and other items there. So we know the pros have their towels, but I've also seen the Limber Disc Golf towel. We know that you guys did one for Queer Disc Golf as well. We've talked to Andy Seawright and our friend Ryan Bonner of Local Disc Golf. He also had a towel of his own. So obviously that's something that can happen. So if somebody wanted to make one for a tournament or say maybe for a podcast or something, how would they go about that?
We have a page on our website. There is a form. Just fill out what you're looking for, and then it sends me an email, and then we go from there. Whether you already have a design or we work together on a design, we get it done. It's pretty simple, actually. You can either just email us or fill out the form. I tried a few weeks ago to have like people actually just upload what they wanted, but you still need that human factor in it, like where like I can tell the picture is going to be blurry, so even though you okayed what you uploaded, it might not look great on a printed towel. So like without me actually inspecting and printing and you approving things, it just doesn't work out well. So I took that off the site and went back to the way it was.
Makes sense.
I just feel the hands-on and working with people better. Some people though, they send you a design, it's perfect, it works out, and it's a quick process. It's done, and we're printing towels pretty quick.
Nice.
Yeah. Speaking of towels, obviously we mentioned the pros that have their own towels. Just want to quickly show some of the other designs that you have on your website here. These are some of the limited edition ones that you have. And I'm more of a colorful person than Jeremy. I think I like a bit more of the colors.
I love flowers.
Yeah,
I love that one.
Yeah, that one is. I can't find it. There is that's one of my favorites. I like that one. It's nice and colorful. It's got the baskets on it.
Man,
one thing I
there's
wanted
so
many. One thing I wanted to say, we've got Thomas and Chantel behind us here. You showed that you had the Limber one there.
Mm-hmm.
Just wanted to show this one here. This we already mentioned it earlier. It's a nice one with the basket and the triangles on it.
Yep.
Do you like this one, Jeremy?
I love it. It's a great one.
Do you know what?
What?
This, believe it or not, is a misprint.
Yep.
I got this from Disc Republic. I don't know what you see in it that I don't, because I don't see any misprint in this at all. This looks like a perfect towel to me.
He's very particular.
Do you see the grommet in the basket? It doesn't line up.
Really? That's the reason?
Yeah.
So the fact that the basket doesn't line up with the top of the grommet doesn't line up with the top of the basket there, that's what makes it a misprint.
In the middle of the basket.
Yeah, I see that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that does seem, you know what, and that's why the product is such quality as it is because you have the eye for those things and you're not going to accept anything less than what you want, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes I do some crazy things to them though. Like
Oh yeah. That one.
This one happened today. So like I print over top of like a design, so this is like 3 designs in one.
Gotcha.
Especially if it's like a club or something, I try to I print over their logo.
Right.
Where you can kind of still see it, but you can't. So depending on the misprint you're actually ordering, but Jason got I think about 20 of those because I didn't realize at the time, and yeah. When I realized there was already so many made, and Jason was like, "Oh, I'll take them," and
yeah,
and obviously they're working, they're selling, so
yeah.
I actually thought he
They
gave me
still
the wrong
work.
towel. Yeah, like I already had the Thomas one. I wanted to get a second one to support. Seen that they had the misprints, ordered it, didn't know what I was going to get. And then when it came, I thought, I think they sent me the wrong one. They just sent me a regular one. Like, there's no misprint on this at all.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, but beyond the towels, it's not just towels that Goat does. You guys also sell other items. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what else you're offering for sale on the website too?
We started doing, well, we have discs, like from Innova, we have custom discs that we got stamped. I think they're all Halos.
Yeah.
But then I bought a laser and started making trophies and bag tags and other things and minis.
Yeah.
Wrong way.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah, that looks good.
So I like to play around and figure things out.
Yes.
So that's like a double layer with acrylic and walnut.
Yeah. They're really awesome.
So yeah, like I said, I like to figure things out. YouTube's a wonderful thing. And I'm a little bit OCD, so if I don't know in the morning, by the afternoon, I figured it out enough that I can make something and go from there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You got bag tags right here too.
Yeah, I do little bag tags and minis and stuff as well.
Oh, that's terrible. Sorry. Little wood ones.
Yeah.
There you go.
But yeah, it's just, I bought a laser and just trying to figure out where it fits in, but the trophies seem to be where the laser's fitting in, to be honest.
Yeah.
Seems like you're very creative and you're just gonna find some aspect, some way to use it just to be creative and you know, things that we need. And those minis are awesome. I've seen your tags before on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, just the way the purple sparkles on that dark brown wood and stuff, that just
The walnut.
looks so cool. And then we
And the
also
license plate.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I got
that's you know what, you're right where we were going. It's
Yeah.
almost like you've got our script or something.
So I started making these license plates as well, and they're 1 mil aluminum. They're pretty thick actually, and you can get engraved your province, what you want on it, or you got a top line, a middle line. The bottom line always says a great place to throw.
Right?
But you have, I think, 12 characters up top and 16 up top and 12 on the middle line that you can customize to whatever you want as well.
Right.
Well, we had saw on the website, we saw the ones that said Ontario, and then instead of yours to discover, we saw yours to discover.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty smart. But I was thinking to Daryl, we're not in Ontario, we're in Alberta. So I was thinking ours should be maybe Alberta, Wild Throws Country,
Nice.
Nice.
because we're normally Wild Rose Country. So
That's awesome.
Nice. The problem with my website is I can only put 2 customizations in it, like options.
okay,
So I don't have an option for the third, so that's why I tried to keep the bottom line not customizable.
gotcha.
That being said, I think in February we're moving platforms over to a different platform, and that should change things.
Nice.
Nice.
So we were telling you maybe earlier there that we've had Daryl Banks on the show before. And Daryl here beside me, he's already told me I'm probably going to say goat way too many times in this interview. But he has Haute Goat, and you guys are Goat Disc Golf. Has there been any collaborations yet, or is that something you guys have worked on before? Or
The Innova Rip that just happened, I made bag tags for all the AMs. So after the first day they played, second day Trent showed actually, because I couldn't go because Jen was flying in that day from Cape Breton, actually, from her trip down there playing disc golf. So I couldn't go because I had to pick Jen up at Toronto Airport. And so Trent actually went and he handed out all the bag tags to all the AM players on their second round according to where they finished.
Right.
So, and there is a picture on Instagram of them, I believe.
I will find it.
of the bag tags there too? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so. Trent ended up going up, and then I think he caddied for Brandon, our friend, the rest of the day, and then they got to watch Gannon and Ezra and them all play as well. So it was.
Oh.
We never actually got to the event, but I
Yeah.
really wish we did.
Yeah, that looked like it was a pretty amazing event for sure. And Gannon ripping up that course and setting records. And even after Daryl tried to make it a little more difficult for them as well, too,
Yeah.
right? It's just really realizing how good those players are. And even when you think
Oh,
you've
yeah.
made a course difficult, they're
You-
going to come up with a new way to throw.
You see how long those holes are, like some of them, and you know the pros are just like sending them. Like it's
Yeah.
insane.
Crazy story about Gannon. When COVID first hit, we were part of the people that ran the Global Pandemic Putting Challenge, which started because we couldn't run league and we wanted people in our league to be able to still do things. And it turned out to like 6,000 people throughout the world.
Yeah, it was global.
And Gannon was 14 at the time, so
Wow.
him and Thomas were battling weekly to see who can make the most 20-foot putts in a row without missing. Gannon hit like 127 a few times in a row.
Oh,
Oh, he was insane.
He uploaded one video, I think it was 126, and then 5 minutes later uploaded it. You could only do one a week, and 5 minutes later he uploaded another live video and did another 120 in a row without missing. And it was just like, so then this guy messaged me and he's like, oh, this Gannon kid, like, he's going to be really good. He's 14 years old. And now looking back, it's like, oh, wow. But, he
what
was
did I
literally
witness?
Just a little kid.
Yeah.
yeah. That's amazing.
There you go.
Oh, there's
Yeah,
the tag.
that's the tag.
Ah, it looks so good.
Yeah.
Mhm. That's fantastic. Now, one of the other things as we kind of come to the end of the interview, we want to find out about the two of you. What are your plans for disc golfing in 2025? What do you guys have lined up? You said you're going to come out west, get to Calgary and Banff. Are there any other big tournaments that are on your list that you'd like to get out to?
Nationals is coming here to Hope Goat and Project 15.
Yeah.
Both great courses, highly recommended. That's
Yeah.
probably the one must-play tournament right now.
Yeah.
We run a tournament in September. We run league too, so
Yeah, we're pretty busy on the weekends.
yeah, our tournaments have really taken a dive the last 2 years, I'd say. Like, we've really backed off on those just because of everything else going on.
Well, and I
Yeah.
tend to have to work on weekends, so it really pushes me back what I can do. But
But we try, so hopefully this year we can get a few more in. We seem to get 5 or 6 a year in no matter what, but
yeah,
Yeah, no, that's good. Well, and that was the thing too. I think I said to Daryl I was like, we got into 8 or 10 tournaments this year. We really wanted to get some points, and we were out there, and I felt really tired and exhausted, and I couldn't believe I'd played so many tournaments. And then you see what Tobin does, and you go, apparently
He has-
maybe.
unlimited energy. That guy, I love Tobin. I wish I had half his energy.
I
Yeah.
think it was September. I messaged him Saturday. He played like in Pennsylvania, and then on his way back, he hit another tournament on Sunday in New York somewhere. Like, and it was just like, I can't keep up with you.
Yeah.
It's just like,
It's amazing. Well,
Yeah.
when you're playing next year and you start heading out west, you said you're going to get to Calgary, you're going to get to Banff. If you go far enough, you're going to get to Victoria. And of course, that's on Vancouver Island. And if you went even further than that, you might be all by yourself out on an island. And I think that brings us to where we wanted to get to next.
You
Was it?
think so? You're so good at this, Jeremy.
Now it's time for Desert Island Discs. Picture this. You've taken a relaxing cruise, however the ship goes down. You manage to swim to an island, and fortunately for you, there's an 18-hole disc golf course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you on the island?
There you go. You've probably heard it before. The staple of the show we like to call Desert Island Discs. It started off this whole story about how you got shipwrecked and landed on an island, and you can only have your 3 discs with you. It was a putter, mid-range, and fairway, or driver. There's no rules anymore. There's no course. Which 3 discs are you taking with you if you had to take 3 discs to play on any course that you could play?
you want to go first?
Well, you can go ahead first.
Disc, I got to go with the Discraft Challenger for my putter. I definitely change my putters a lot, but that's the most consistent one in and out of my bag.
Yeah.
But I love trying new putters, so
Yeah.
that could change tomorrow, but by next week I'll be back to the Challenger.
No,
Yeah.
you need to stick with the Challenger.
Hex definitely for the mid-range,
Right.
and probably a Crave or a Trail for my control driver slot.
Yeah.
Love it.
And to what course? So many great ones.
Oh my
I really want to play Raptors Knolls in BC though, like in Vancouver there.
Yeah. We've heard great things about that course as well. Yeah.
Maple Hill, there's so many on that list that I couldn't.
I know.
It's hard to pick one course, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. How about you, Jen?
I like this. I like the fact that Craig is now bringing a course to the island with him as well. So got
Yeah.
the 3 discs, and it's like, all right, it can
This
be any
course-
course I want. This is the course that's going to be on that island. I love it.
Oh, I thought
Yeah.
I heard you say that you could bring, or what course you would be playing. Oh, okay. Never
Oh,
mind.
we've had people say that it. Oh, sorry. We've had people say before that they've made up this course on this island, this fictitious island. People have
Yeah.
said that it's on an island, so it's going to be
gonna
windy.
That's
And
always
then it's in the tropics, so it's going to be humid. So I need something with grip. And like people tend to overthink what we actually talk about on this. Which island and
Well, you're very
what this
serious
course.
guys, right?
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, so much so. And I love the way you approach it too, because I would want to bring a course to the island, and I like that as well.
Yeah,
But I think one of our ones, we've mentioned it before, but we had Brian Freese on the show, and he had never really heard of our Desert Island discs at all. But he's got such a good sense of humor, and I think he wanted to start with like a polecat or a glitch because it's kind of like a bowl.
Yeah, 'cause
and
the
then
plate-
you can
you
use
could
it
use it for
as
a-
a plate and
yeah.
to gather
Oh,
water.
that's smart.
Yeah, and then he had the
His distance driver was the Michelin.
the Michelin. It
The
was
Michelin.
a Michelin, and he said it
Oh.
just had the sharpest edge on it because he knew he was going to have to end something's life if he was going to be on that island. So he needed.
He was thinking dual-purpose discs.
Yeah, it wasn't
That's
just
smart.
throwing them. He wanted utility discs as well.
Yeah.
But it brings us to you, Jen.
That's really smart. So for mine, my distance driver would be my Wraith.
Right.
Fairway would be a Crave, and my putter is a Pure. So
Nice.
yes,
Oh, you pretty much got that dialed in.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
perfect. And as an
Keep it
MVP
neutral.
Axiom guy here, I love your choices. You got enough. You got enough of them mixed in there that I could pick up any one of those discs and play
well,
with those as well.
I just got a nuance this weekend, so I'm playing with that. We'll see how
Okay.
that goes.
Oh,
We
nice.
have this friend, George. And Chris. They both throw an MVP since we started playing with them in like 2017 or 18, say. And I used to make fun of them all the time. I'd be like, "Oh yeah, that fake gyro stuff." Like, and then George gave me an Envy, and Chris gave me, I think, a Tesla. And next thing you know, like 90% of my bag is
Yeah.
MVP Axiom. And George just laughs now. Like, he's just like,
So how's that
But,
little gyro working out for you?
Yeah.
yeah, like, and I'm not saying they go farther. They just,
Yeah.
I find a Crave I can forehand and backhand, where like a Leopard, I might be able to get the same distance backhand, but I have a harder time forehanding.
Well,
There-
and the Crave has that nice small rim and is sneaky far, sneaky glidey. Like
Yes.
I can throw my Crave almost as far as my Wraith some days. Like it's insane.
Yeah, there is. I'm not going to say that gyro works, but there is something about gyro discs. I was big when I first started. I was big MVP gyro. That's whether I bought into the gyro side of it or whether it was just like you said, the feel, the plastic, the grip, everything about it was just. I like their disc, but
Well,
I'm glad to see that you have a Wraith in there because I've switched over to Innova now. So yeah,
I find Innova, like the
Nope, I
Leopard
won't.
3 is in and out of my bag. An Eagle is in and out of my bag. A Wraith, if I need max distance, is in and out of my bag.
yeah,
But I also find the Wraith is the most lost disc because I throw it for those long shots,
Yeah.
like where I need to get over a pond
yeah.
and I always seem to throw nose up when there's a pond or river involved.
of course, right?
I know I lost my favorite Insanity this weekend. It was like my first Insanity with the face
Oh.
on it. Oh man, I'm
Yeah.
so sad.
Well, hopefully it'll turn up. Hopefully, with you, if you got your name on the back, someone will.
It's in a
give you
pond.
shout.
You know where it is.
Yeah.
It's just not
Yeah.
coming back.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
Well, there you go. Well, it's awesome. It's been great having you guys on the show tonight. And we always like, before we wrap up, is to give you an opportunity if there was anything that you wanted to shout out or anything that you wanted to tell our listeners about that we didn't already cover. Now's your time.
I'd just like to say thank you to everybody for your support with the Go Tell stuff. Like, it's never was a business, and organically it just grew on its own. And that's because of everybody that appreciates the product, and thank you.
And supported us.
Supported us over the years.
Yeah.
Just thank you all.
And if people want to follow you, they can follow you on Instagram at the greatest of all towels.
Yeah.
And if you want to order one of those sweet towels, you know where to go, Jeremy?
Oh, we do.
Go to thegoattowel.com.
And anybody out in our neck of the woods, if they haven't seen one or haven't put their hands on one, just find us on the course. We'll let you try it
We've
out.
got a couple.
Yeah, we got a handful of them that we can use. So, so that's perfect. Well, thank you so much for both of you joining us. And when we get out east there for nationals, hopefully we can run into you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Okay.
sure.
James is saying he's got a backup for Jen. James, it runs the league, well, helps run the league at Kings Forest where Jen lost her disc.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he
okay.
just said that he might have a backup for her. So
He said, I know someone
He
who might be able
get
to.
it.
He said, I know someone who might be able to get that back for you.
He's
Oh.
the
So I
one
think
okay.
somebody might be going
in
in
the
the.
pond and helps. Yes.
Yeah, there you go.
Please.
Yeah. See, look at this. The podcast is solving problems
There
already.
you go.
Right?
Yeah, there's always somebody around to
That's
help
awesome.
out.
Yeah. Well, thanks again so much for joining us. It was great talking to you, and we can't wait to meet you out on the course.
Yes. Look forward to it.
look forward to it. Thank you.
Thank
Sounds
you.
good. Thank you.
Okay, all the best.
Bye.
Bye.
Well, Daryl, the question that's on the tip of our tongues, was that the greatest interview of all time?
The Guillot. No, that was a great interview. Like that, I think that was a good interview because, I mean, I'm not saying that I didn't learn anything from other people, but you interview a player, how they got into disc golf was kind of the same as other people got into disc golf.
Right.
But actually learning the story about how somebody made a towel,
Yeah.
and it wasn't really. I don't know, when he was saying about he sewed them up as a towel,
Yeah.
as a pillow, and then turned them inside out.
Right.
And then you feel your towel and you're like, oh yeah, I can feel the difference. Like I can feel the two layers. I can feel the pocket. I can feel, I just wipe my discs on it and it makes them really clean and dry.
Well, and it's just another one of those stories where what disc golf can do, where you're like, oh yeah, I'm just going to go out and buy 3 discs, buy a starter pack, and maybe throw at a couple rounds, and then you find people get into a league, and then you find people start playing tournaments. They start buying bags and all this, and then they just start companies that make towels that we didn't even know we needed until they made them.
Exactly.
But he is right too, because I think we were at a couple tournaments where it was raining. I think it was Athabasca was one of them, and I remember I don't think that Mark had a towel yet,
Yeah.
and then he had about 10 different like dish towel type
Tea
ones
towels,
to dry.
cloths,
Yeah.
wash towels. Yeah.
So this solves that problem. With 2 of them, we're covered pretty much for
I
any
think-
weather we get.
I'm not sure, but did I get my Thomas one before you got your Chantel?
It was very close together.
And I remember telling you, and I remember saying this, every other towel, because I think I got mine around about the winter time.
right.
And I remember the towels that I had before, you would just move, when you go to dry it, it would just move the snow around the disc. You weren't really drying it, you were just kind of shifting the snow around.
Yeah.
But with the goat towel, that waffle side gets all the dirt, any debris, just gets that right off, and then flip it over to the suede, and it bone dry. You got a dry disc to throw again. Like, I really like it.
Man, should we snip this? Is this maybe the advertisement that we can send to Jen and Chris?
Yeah, we'll send it to them, just put it on the website.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we want to thank everybody for listening. And, we'd love it if you subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Instagram, comment,
sorry.
all of that type of thing. Daryl's going to put up the
There we go.
links there for us. Right?
Yeah, don't
So-
forget to subscribe. If you want to follow us on Instagram, _podcast. Everywhere else, TikTok, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it nowadays.
Yep.
Facebook, Chain Out Podcast. Search us everywhere else.
But not yet
And
Blue
as-
Sky. I don't know. Maybe one day, but
Maybe, I don't know. We got too many places. We're in too many places. There's too many things. I can't concentrate on everything.
and if you've done all that and you want to support us more, you can reach out and join our Patreon or maybe buy us a beer. Just check it out on our link tree. And we want to give a quick shout out, speaking of Patreon, to our newest and our first top band member. And who is that, Daryl?
That would be the one and only Timothy Plamondon.
Yeah.
For the people that don't know, over on our Patreon, we do have tiers. We're not expecting anyone to pick any particular tier, but we do have tiers. We have the chain link, we have the top band, and then we have the tap in tier as well.
That's right.
Yeah, but we would like to thank Tim for our first top band.
We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we are going to be starting our Patreon Around the Basket episode in about 15 minutes, 10-15 minutes or so. So if you want to head over to our Patreon page, you can find the free link to watch it live.
Yep.
And we'll be talking to local disc golf's Ryan Bonner. We're going to chat about Ken Climo leaving Innova. We're going to talk about disc golf sponsorships, maybe some disc golf bragging rights as well, and what classifies as the best bragging right. But yeah, thanks again for joining us, and check that out. And Daryl, we got to finish this thing off.
Do you know what I was thinking?
Yeah.
If you were to take a Crave,
Okay. Yeah, Crave, of course. I have like 7 of them.
exactly, right? Who doesn't? You take the Crave. You're out playing Winter League, right?
Yeah.
You pick up that Crave. Let's say you're one of those crazy people that don't have a goat towel. Mm-hmm. If you just pick it up out of the snow, you take your tea towel from the kitchen, you wipe it down, you aim it at the basket, you throw a nice hyzer, but it slips out of your hand
Oh, it would do
because
that.
you didn't dry it.
You didn't dry it properly.
It's going right towards the basket.
It's looking like it's going to go in.
But because you didn't dry your hand, you know there's only one thing it would do.
It's so wet, it's just going to do one thing.
It's only going to do one thing.
And that's Chain Out!
Thanks, everybody.
See you in a bit.